critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of a true education. A very good afternoon to all the distinguished guests, respected faculty members, and dear participants present here. As the quote by Dr. King reminds us, education is not just about knowledge, it's about developing the mindset and character to navigate an ever changing world. And that is exactly what this session aims to nurture. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all today, insightful event organized by Amity School of Language, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow Campus, on the topic enhancing communication and employability through pedagogical strategy and multidisciplinarity.
As we navigate the evolving landscape of education, this academic event seeks to explore the multifaceted pedagogical strategies used by educators to foster engagement, communication, and ultimately employability. Today, we focus not only on knowledge delivery, but also on articulation, perception, and strategy making. The faculty themselves more employable, effective, and future ready. Thank you for joining us from different places and institutions. We hope today's session inspires meaningful insights and connections. I request everyone to ensure their microphones remain muted during the session, and you may use the chat box for any immediate queries or technical assistance.
We are honored to have with us today esteemed leaders and thought pioneers in the field of education. Today, formally commence this esteemed gathering, it is my privilege to introduce eminent academician, visionary leader, and the dynamic force behind the Amity School of Languages, Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray, Director of Amity School of Language, Lucknow Campus. Professor Dr. Ray is a distinguished expert in English literature and technical communication. She has authored over 10 books and has been honored with the International Excellence Award in both 23 and 24 for her great contribution to poetry. She also holds the prestigious title of Royal Golden Fellow at the Edosia Research Center, USA. Man's profound appreciation for nature, divinity, equality, kindness, and generosity continues to be a source of inspiration for many.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Jyoti Diwan, Associate Professor at Jaipuria Institute of Management, Lucknow, and a national voice in innovation, entrepreneurship, and employability. Dr. Jyoti Diwan brings with her over 25 years of professional experience, ranging from corporate media to academia, and has worn multiple hats as an entrepreneur, educator, and innovation mentor. She is currently the chair of the Center for Family Business and Entrepreneurship and the chair of the Jaipuria Incubation Foundation. A TEDx scholar and recipient of the E-Learning Excellence Award, she's been an active leader in mentoring startups, crafting curriculum innovations, and leading national level entrepreneurial forums. A heartfelt welcome to each one of you, and thank you for gracing this occasion with your presence. May I now take the honor of inviting our keynote speaker, Dr. Jyoti Diwan, to deliver her keynote on the theme From Empathy to Enterprise, Pedagogical Strategies to Spark Employability. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much, Shifa and Sophia, for a excellent introduction and very kind of you. I'd like to begin by putting on record my thanks to Professor Kumkum Ray for thinking of me and inviting me to the session. So, as we talk about pedagogy, we are all, no one is the leader, no one is excellent at it because it is a road under constant construction. So I'm here to share some of my views and some experiences that have been found to be useful as we go about teaching and learning at our institute, and also some research that we have conducted in this area. So all during the session, I invite each one of you to participate, to ask questions, or to contribute your viewpoints wherever you think deem fit. So let's have a collaborative, short interactive session where we talk about pedagogy and what more we can do to empower our students. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. So do let me know whenever you think the slide is not changing a lot or any such thing, because I'm just moving on. I'll present a few thoughts and then maybe we can have a couple of activities and interaction and feedback so we can collaboratively decide what are the positive practices in pedagogy as we go ahead. So, the theme for today's discussion is that from empathy to enterprise, pedagogical strategies to spark employability. As you know, that employability of the youth is a great concern, and not only in your institute, but in institutes across the world. Recently, Harvard was also, which is among the benchmark institute of the world, was also under scrutiny for employability metrics. So, just a brief introduction about myself. As the anchors rightly mentioned, I'm Dr. Jyoti Diwan from the Jaipuria Institute of Management, Lucknow. I'm a professor in the area of general management and strategy area, and I teach courses in the area of design thinking and entrepreneurship. At this point, I'd like a couple of you to share what areas or what courses that you are teaching, so we can try to discuss pedagogy in a more robust way, in a more kind of applicable way. So I invite just maybe a couple of you to share what areas you're teaching in, what courses you are teaching. So your names are not visible. So at the most, I can like call out SF or SK or DS or SM or maybe Soumya. You can just mention that what course you're teaching at Amity.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm teaching Introduction to Caribbean Literature, and I've also taught post-colonial literature. So these
Okay,
are the two
great.
current courses that I'm teaching.
Yeah, yeah. So of course, and in these days, multi-disciplines interacting with each other is thought to be very, very positive because it helps the students to kind of have a whole picture of the world view rather than having a segmented view. So just moving on. So, just an overarching statement that education today is no longer about answers, but it's about equipping learners to ask the right questions in a changing world. So, rather than having the perfect answer, the perfect question is something that we are more particular about today because we have many resources and technology is there to help us find the perfect answers. So, that's why this quote that education is no longer about getting answers, it's about equipping learners to ask the right kind of questions in a changing world. Today's world, as we all witness through the internet, through the television, through the news channels, through the newspapers, it is an ever changing world. We have just emerged from COVID, and there are wars all happening around. The political equations are changing all the time. The worldview, world dimensions are changing. Superpowers are trading favors. So it's an ever changing world. And to find perspective, we need to have a deep think on what we are teaching our students because after all we are equipping them to enter the real world and to work over there to earn the livelihood over there. So we have to align what we teach and how we teach and what the outcomes are to the world of to the real world which is offering jobs and employability to these graduates. So, when we think about pedagogy, one question that comes to our mind is that why are we today talking about redesigning pedagogy? What is the urgency? So, here I'd like to present to you a short video, which has been a short video. I hope the video is visible.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
The video is not visible, but the link of the video is visible.
Oh, so is it visible now?
No,
Or
ma'am.
maybe, okay, I'll just share it directly, not a worry. Just give me a moment. Okay, or maybe I'll just tell you about the video to make it simple. Otherwise, it may just take longer. So, what this video talks about, it talks about the World Economic Forum and its report 2025, which is saying that the world of jobs is changing very, very fast. That means the traditional jobs are giving way to new jobs. You all must have experienced what a path-breaking moment it was when large language models such as ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity entered our world, and how it has changed how the student interfaces with us. Earlier, we would give assignments, and they would have to at least go and search on Google or other internet resources before they could give us some kind of solutions to the problems that we have set out. But today, as soon as we give the assignment as such can be uploaded into a large language model, for example, ChatGPT, and within seconds, the student has a ready-made solution to the assignment that has been given. So here, the main concern is that the learning of the student is being missed. So, in order to offset that, we start talking about how we can alter. Of course, we are unable to debar the students from using these resources. In certain privileged areas, for example, for example, the examination hall, we're able to stop them from using these models. But by and large, when there are home assignments and all, we are unable to stop the students from using these models. So therefore, we have that means that we have to come. It is compulsory for us to change the way in which we teach, the way in which we structure our assignments, and the way in which we evaluate them. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. The pedagogy today needs a real redesign, and that is the urgency. So the World Economic Forum says that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even been invented yet. Okay. And the top skills by 2025 include analytical thinking, creativity, resilience, ideation, technology use, and leadership. That means the humanness of it all, how to understand and connect with our fellow human beings in a world which may largely be dominated by machines, where we are interfacing with machines day in and day out, is going to be one of the key skills. So questions are, how are our students being prepared for this? So each institution, especially forward-looking institutions like Amity, like Jaipuria Institute of Management, and the like, are reworking the pedagogies in the light of these. So here at Jaipuria, we are going around, we're switching sides from saying that you generate answers, we are saying, hey, why don't you generate questions? This is the problem. So why don't you create a couple of series of questions which will assess the problem in a astute manner, in a complete manner. So this is our way we are flipping the assessments, and we've had some good outcomes from this. So the emerging job landscape is going to be shifting from repetitive to strategic, creative, and empathetic roles which human beings will be performing. So any task or any activity which is repetitive in nature is soon going to be taken over by the chatbots, by the large learning language models and all. So the new age roles will be dependent on sustainability consultants as we go forward to protecting the earth. Then AI, ethics, people who work with ethics in AI, what is ethical, trying to define as we move between multiple interactions between man and machine. They're trying to be developing zones of what is ethical, what is unethical, how much AI is permissible or not, and in which areas. And of course, people who specialize in helping remote teams to come together for positive collaborative experiences. In COVID, we have already experienced that we are able to work remotely, we are able to work even when we don't come together in the physical mode. So now, to save time, to save energy, to save transits, We are using more and more remote teams, remote classes. Like today, also we are working in a remote way. So how these experiences can be made richer is what remote team experience designers are going to be working on. For example, when we look at Zoom, we already have experiential modes. So as we go forward, every 3 months, these experiential zones are going to develop more and more, making it more lifelike, making our interactions richer. Then maybe the option may not be to switch off your cameras, and perforce you have to be in interactive mode. Okay, so now the needed skills going forward, the skills which are going to be needed are going to be problem solving, empathy, adaptability, and collaboration. Co creating, collaborating to develop solutions, to discuss problems, empathy to understand each other's viewpoint. Okay, and problem solving, of course, the world today is throwing up problems all the time. So, how to solve these problems? We have seen right from COVID times that problems are coming, and our scientists, our technologists, and our social workers are consistently working to solve them. So big problems are emerging, big solutions are being created. So I hope my slides are keeping up with my address.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So if in case you find there's a mismatch, just reach out to me. A word of response is, of course, very encouraging. We've all been on the other side. I'm sure you have been on the side of the faculty who's addressing. And of course, when the response is not there, it becomes challenging. But yes, let's get on. So what is, we are talking about the changing role of academia. We are talking about the changing role of academicians and teachers and professors, the role of educators. We've talked about the changing skills that we need to impart to our students. We've talked about technology invading our classrooms and our world. Okay, so in this, we as educators, as professors, as teachers, what do we need to do? Our role essentially becomes that of facilitators of skills, facilitators of mindsets, and facilitators of innovation. Okay, so we move from content delivery to capability building. We move. It is not only because information is available everywhere, no matter what information you need. It is just a few fingertips away, uh, and it is as good on the computer as good on your mobile phone. Okay, so content is no longer a problem. The idea is capacity or capability development. How you can guide the learner to inculcate the knowledge and to create output, the desired output. Okay, so we have to help students sense, seize, and shape opportunities. Okay, so the students are with us for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Okay, depending on what course they are pursuing at the undergraduate or postgraduate level. Okay, so in this limited time, we have to teach them how to sense what is happening all around, assimilate all the information, see where the job opportunity is going to be, what kind of skills that are needed. We have to make them constant learners. They have to sense, they have to seize, and they have to shape the opportunities. For example, Soumya just mentioned that she is in incorporating classes or executing classes in the area of Caribbean literature. So the student of Caribbean literature has to see what kind of openings, are going to be available in that zone, and how they can adapt their skills to jobs in the area. Also, we have to adopt a mindset based on pedagogies. What are the tools we can use? The pedagogies which are good today may not be good tomorrow. So today we are saying ask the right questions. Tomorrow it may be something completely different. So again, pedagogy is an evolving area. And what I share with you is changing as we share and as we discover. And I'm sure that as you learn from your experience in the classroom, and so we are constantly testing, iterating, and see what works well for astute and appropriate student outcomes. Okay, so in this context, today I am presenting two kind of models. One is about design thinking, and the other is about developing entrepreneurial mindset and enterprise in the student and in our curriculum. So the student can use these inputs to help them stand in the world of employability. Okay, so the first format is about design thinking. Okay, now design thinking is a human centered model to assess what people are needing and wanting. So when we teach in management, we teach the students how to sense the customer requirements regarding the product and what more features they would want in the product or services, and how to go forward developing products and services which are needed and wanted by the customer. But design thinking is not limited purely to management. It is as applicable to technology, to humanity. Okay, so here we have to empathize. These are the iterative steps of design thinking. Sometimes they follow a sequence, and sometimes they may not follow a sequence, depending on the situation and depending on the need. It is a tool which can be used in multiple areas and for multiple purposes. Okay, so the first step is empathize. Empathize, as we all know, is trying to understand our target audience. Okay, what are their needs, wants, desires? In context of education, what are the student outcomes that they look at, what they want to learn, okay, and what is the area in which they are facing a problem. Next, we need to define the problem, that what exactly is the problem that the student is facing. Is there a problem in remembering? Is there a problem in applying? Is there a problem in retaining? Is there a problem in applying the knowledge to real world situations? So first we empathize, then we clearly define the problem. Then, as academicians, we ideate, we form teams, and we talk about how the problem can be addressed. Using multimodal kind of tools, we try to develop means to explain the content and the context to the students. Then we develop a prototype. What is a prototype? In management or in the marketing terms, a prototype would be a sample product that we develop or a sample service that we develop, which we go back to the customer and we test again. In the terms of pedagogy, a prototype may be a sample curriculum, a prototype may be a sample pedagogy that we develop and we administer to a particular group of students in order to test its efficacy in the particular circumstances. Okay, so this is what design thinking is talking about. So now we delve deeper into design thinking, that what are the core tenets of design thinking. So I have already mentioned to you that design thinking is applicable in management, as applicable in technology, as applicable in humanities, because it is a human centered process. Here we try to understand the real user, the needs, emotions, and behavior. We try to understand the explicit and the implicit requirements. Explicit requirements which the user, which the student is saying, confessing, and implicit where we use our critical thinking to assess that where is the gap between teaching and learning and achievement of the outcomes. Next, how do we go about this? As I mentioned previously, first step is always empathize. Gain insights through observation, through immersion, and through interviews. So, wherever you feel that your pedagogy is lacking, that the required skills are not being transferred, So again, we go through a process of observing, of immersion, and of interviews. Then we clearly try to articulate the problem and then ideate, generate a wide range of ideas through brainstorming, mind mapping, scamper. Uh, Pardon me, this word just appears again, that is brainstorm. Okay, so here we evaluate all the options that we can think of and which tool is going to serve us and the students and cement the link between the teacher and the taught in order to have the learning loop completed. Then we go about experimentation. We build quick prototypes to explore the solution. How can we get the student to have better learning? Through sketching, through engagement, through model making, to developing digital prototypes. Okay. And then we go about testing our tools of pedagogy. Okay. So here we can do an A/B testing, have two groups of students and see where the learning outcome is better, then gathering feedback and then go about doing. We can also do this process in subsequent semesters, as we go out. Then testing and then iteration. The path in education and pedagogy is constantly under construction. So we have to close the loop, take the learning outcomes from one semester and feed them forward into the next one. So all the time, our teaching learning processes are forward facing. And of course, design thinking deeply believes in collaboration. Here we say that multidisciplinary profs need to come together to create a complete learning basket for the students. Here, Amity, being a university, has got a great edge because you have got so many disciplines under the same umbrella. So it would be great if in your board of studies you can invite one prof from the engineering segment, one from the management segment, and fusing it with humanities and languages could make a very wholesome way of learning, and creating substantial syllabuses, curriculum, and creating substantial pedagogies. Okay. And in design thinking, we may have 10,000 meetings, we may ideate a lot, we may develop the best curriculum, best pedagogies, but design thinking, the bias is towards action. Get going, start testing, start implementing new tools and pedagogy so that the focus is on doing and testing as vis-a-vis analysis paralysis. I hope my screen is visible, or has there been a...
Yes, now it is visible.
Okay, just one second. So I seem to have lost the thread a bit. Just give me a moment. So any questions in the meanwhile? So I have just presented to you a brief framework of design thinking and how it works in the context of pedagogy development, iterative progress. So, Samya, can you just help me that which slide is visible?
Yes, yes, ma'am, it is the first slide. I mean,
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
started
So
from
I'll
the
just,
beginning.
yeah, sure. So there was just a slight mismatch. I'll just bring it up. So here we were talking about the core tenets of design thinking and how it can help us in constantly developing new pedagogy, which is in sync with the times. So this needs to, so of course, the time is too short to go deeper into design thinking. I just tried to give you a brief overview. And of course, you can pick up some online courses in the area of design thinking. Or I would be happy to come across and interact on design thinking and how you can use it in different ways. Okay. And so design thinking, I gave you just a kind of a feel about it. It has got a whole lot of tools which will help you empathize, tools which will help you conduct user interviews and do journey mapping of the student when he enters your course and when he exits your course, and how and when the learning has happened and how much learning has happened. Okay, so then of course, our outcome is improved communication and better user understanding. So even we have to go forward understanding our student better so we can serve the student better in terms of learning outcomes. So of course, here I planned an activity. So if some of you are forthcoming, we can just get into the activity. Okay. So imagine that here we also do role plays. You all may be conducting so many role plays in your classrooms. So this is just a very simple role play where if you'd like, it would be great if you can post some problems that the students are facing in your class. So if you would put some problems in the chat box, we can quickly discuss them. So the idea here is that first you try to generate a whole lot of problems, and then you in design thinking, we have these statements. Each problem we try to fit into the mode of how might we? How might we improve student learning? How might we improve student learning engagement? So these are called how might we statements. You know, so these are whatever problem that you are facing in your class, you just categorize it in a series of how might we statements, and then we slowly go about attacking the problem and slowly finding creative solutions. Okay. So sometimes we call these design sprints, which are becoming very popular now. Sometimes we call this hackathons, which are getting very, very popular now. So supposing if you want a kind of standardized learning, if you want pure content, even the online courses are good enough. But when we are in a human space connecting one-on-one with students, we have to really think about customization is the addition, customization is the value addition that we bring to class. So do think about it, that how you as a professor can customize, how you can customize your delivery in class. So design thinking in pedagogy, as we just discussed, the first stage would be to empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and then test. Methods would be problem-based learning, sprints, and studio models. But design sprints are simply intellectuals getting together and attacking a problem, breaking the problem down into smaller components, addressing the components, and then trying to evolve solutions. Okay, so I had a couple of videos, but somehow the system is not supporting. So you can, so IDEO is one of the leading organizations in the world, which is propagating design thinking as a tool for solving problems. The problems can be in the area of pedagogy, it can be area of employability, it can be in the area of curriculum development. Okay, so I will leave the links with Soumya, and I'm sure she will circulate and you can go through these. So this video proposed to show you about IDEO and and how it is going about solving problems in a systematic manner using the tenets of design thinking. So we come to the next segment, which is talking about entrepreneurial mindset for employability. So recently I was at a conclave and some of the best minds of the industry were there. So ideally, we may like to think that entrepreneurship is to develop businesses. Entrepreneurship is about creating ventures. But here we are not talking about developing businesses, but we are talking about creating an entrepreneurial mindset. So as the student emerges from the world of academia, moves into the world of industry, okay, they have to be very particular whether they are employable or not, whether they're having the right skills or not. So here they have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. So what exactly are the traits of an entrepreneurial mindset? The key traits of an entrepreneurial mindset are initiative, taking the first step forward. Okay, always being proactive, using creativity, always trying to redefine your persona, redefine your skills, represent your skills in such a manner that you have the edge in any interview, you have the edge wherever you are standing. As someone who is replete with skills, someone who knows how to adapt, evolve, learn new skills, and apply the requisite skills to new areas as and when the surroundings are changing. Here again, we have a host of tools. Due to paucity of time, it is challenging to go into the tools. You've got the business model canvas, you've got the lean canvas, and you've got the opportunity scanning processes that we are using to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, to scan the environment in order to find out what are the skills of the moment, how I can incorporate and how I can evolve in order to get my livelihood, in order to continue to be relevant in the space of employability. Okay, so here you can
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
engage your. Yes, please. If any questions, I'd be delighted to address. If it was a stray thing, you're advised to mute your microphone. Yes. So here you can what we do over here that at the beginning of the semester we ask our students to select their own area in which they want to develop So we do this exercise over 2 semesters. In the first semester, they are asked to use the tenets of design thinking to come up with a prototype. A prototype is a solution, maybe a product or a service which they reach after doing user interviews. Okay, after empathizing with the consumer. And in the second semester, they learn how to convert the prototype into a business venture. Okay, so here we are not talking about, because we're talking about pedagogy, we're talking about making the student aware that they have to create initiative, that they have to learn creativity, they have to be prepared to take a certain amount of calculated risks as they emerge into the world of work, the professional world, and they have to be very open to failure. Okay, so if we can make our students resilient, we will be giving them the most important lesson in the whole world. Failure comes to each one of us. Okay, in fact, even at the best schools where the students have got spotless records, where they've got straight A's all through, they are being they are being taught, they are being kind of tipped to identify with failure. Okay, because as we move forward in life, failure is absolutely certain. Failure not meaning something drastically going wrong. Failure means that something you tried to attempt at which you are not being a success. At that moment, there is no need to just collapse and break into bits, but you just have to come together and move forward from there, building step by step, because as we know, the road to success is constantly under construction. So the students have to be very, very resilient, and it is our duty as guides to make them resilient. Okay. Today's generation, I've read many articles, and even psychologists have pointed out that our current generation, which is coming in, tends to be very, very emotionally fragile. Okay, they appear to be very delicate. Okay, and so we hear about so many suicides that are happening. So if we can create failure as something which automatically comes, and how we have to kind of develop skills to emerge from it and be resilient, then I think it would be the greatest outcome that education can have. So, irrespective of the course that we are teaching, if we can imbibe these skills of comprising entrepreneurial mindset, that is taking initiative, being creative, being open to risk, a calculated risk, not a blind risk, and being very, very resilient as we go forward, then I think we would be able to have students who are very sturdy and very ready for the world. So today only in the newspaper I came across this cutting which I have put that the lines between disciplines are blurring very fast and the entire education sector is moving towards a multidisciplinary approach. So that's why I highlighted to you that design thinking always encourages problem solving through a multidisciplinary approach, because in that way we are able to have a 360-degree viewpoint of any situation, and asking the right questions helps us to create the appropriate solutions customized to a particular area or customized to a particular sector. Okay, so so of course a multidisciplinary collaboration is a pedagogical imperative, because the real world problems really rarely fit into one particular discipline. Also, a multidisciplinary collaborative approach helps students to think beyond academic silos. So abroad, we know that already right up to the graduate level, the education is very, very multidisciplinary. Let's see how our Indian ecosystem evolves going forward. It helps in developing a holistic, user-centric solutions. It helps to build communication and collaboration skills across fields. This is the value of multidisciplinary collaboration, and the School of Languages, I do understand, teaches a vast repertoire of courses, which I'm sure is equipping the students very well in a multidisciplinary manner. So some suggestive classroom practices would be team-based projects. So here at Jaipuria, the moment they enter the first years, they are assigned student teams, and these teams stay with them for term one for the first year. And of course, in the second year, they are free. So most of every course is essentially having at least one team-based assessment. So team-based projects mixing students from different domains. So co-taught modules. This is modular teaching we have just begun to implement, where the same course, different segments of the same course are taught by different academics, you know, and joint case studies and problem solving labs. So whether even if it is languages, if we can incorporate these kind of pedagogies, it goes a long way in giving students a worldview, a multidisciplinary approach, and it makes them happy and delightful to attack problems rather than by getting pressurized by problems. And also here, the students learn to value diversity of thought and integrate knowledge creativity. It also helps to develop students which are more kind of tolerant as they go out in the world and accepting of people who are not similar to them. So also when we talk about pedagogy, we also need to talk about the rubrics, or how we are how we are assessing the students. Okay, so going forward, we can talk about assessing students on curiosity, on creativity, on collaboration, and on contribution. The 25% mark is just a kind of a randomized kind of a thought process that maybe in equal parts, these kind of skills or the 4C rubric can be used. Each curriculum developer, each faculty can decide in their particular course what is more important: the student to be curious, the student to be creative, the student to collaborate, or how much they are contributing in teams. For example, in design thinking, uh, we attach a lot of value to curiosity and creativity, even in fact collaboration. Okay, so each faculty is, of course, the master of their course, and these things can be customized. But the idea is to assist students more on these aspects rather than plain recall. Okay, memorization, reproducing. Rather than that, we assess the students on the depth of insight, that is curiosity, novelty and feasibility, that is creativity, teamwork, that is collaboration, and the real world impact of what they are bringing to the table. Even when they join the world of work, no one is asking that, okay, every day you're not asked for a degree or what course you studied, but of course, everyone asks, okay, what are you bringing to the company table? What work are you doing for the company? What is your contribution? So this is how we visualize zooming students from classroom to their career. When all through the presentation, I spoke about design thinking, using the tenets of design thinking and developing an entrepreneurial mindset in the students. Okay, this helps them to sense trends using empathy, trends like what is happening in the world, what is changing, what new skills do I need to pick up? Because now we all know education is not going to finish with a degree. Education is going to be a lifelong learning process. And so first we have to sense the trends using our empathy to sense people around us, to sense the changes around us. Okay, solve problems using design thinking, seize opportunities with an entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, that is, and educators as enablers and guides, because information is now commonplace. So we have to be the gurus for helping them inculcate and apply. Okay, and give them this habit of constantly learning, being curious, being collaborative, what we just learned a little, discussed a little earlier in the last slide. So, key takeaways for this session would be that mindset is more than knowledge. Okay, because data and information is all around. A step higher than data and information is knowledge, and a step higher than knowledge is going to be the mindset. Okay, then this whole question, this whole FDP started with employability. So we say that empathy plus enterprise will continue to lead to recurrent employability. When you empathize or understand what's happening around you, and you take initiative, you willing to take risk, you're willing to be creative, and you are being resilient with failure, that is enterprise. So empathy plus enterprise will continue to lead to employability, because now the companies are no longer taking your responsibility. Okay, you have to take your own employability responsibility. Okay, the real world is just as mindset is greater than knowledge. है ना? Empathy plus enterprise is equal to employability. So the real world is greater than the textbook. Okay. So, and what we have to evaluate in education is largely going to be curiosity, creativity, and contribution. There are some resources which I will be sharing with you. And of course, I would be happy that after this discussion and some thoughts, of course, I am no expert on pedagogy. I have shared my learnings from my teachings and discussions with peers. Okay, I have presented to you today. And I would be happy to know that going forward, what are some pedagogical changes that you would like to address in your classroom, taking from design thinking and our enterprise that we just discussed. It would be great if you could put some thoughts in the chat box, or if some of you would like to unmute and present, it would be simply great. Of course, it will all stem from student issues. The problems that students are facing lead to changes in pedagogy, lead to changes in improved outcomes in student learning. or even if you have some questions in the thoughts and views that I've presented to you, I would be happy to kind of address them and respond to them. So that's the session from my side. Okay. So thank you so much. And of course, I look forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn, and you can email me. And I would be happy to engage further, to collaborate, to discuss, and of course, learn from each one of you. Thank you so much. I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an enlightening and forward-thinking presentation. Your vision has certainly left us inspired and better informed. We now open the platform for the question and session. Kindly raise your hand or type your question in the chat box. We invite the audience to engage with our keynote speaker and gain deeper insight into the idea discussed.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much for this session. I have a question.
Yes, sure.
What role does empathy play in fostering creativity and innovation among learners?
So that's a great question, Soumya. And so creativity and innovation can only be based when you sense your surroundings, only then you can get about being creative. So without sensing, without understanding, so empathy is all about sensing what is happening around you. Okay. So that is how it is a stepping stone to innovation and creativity.
So I would
Thank
like
you, ma'am.
all the students to introduce yourself before you ask questions. So this was the question asked by Shifa Mukhtar. Yes. Now the next question is from Palak. Palak, are you in the group?
Yes, ma'am.
Please ask. Ma'am, she is a PhD scholar of our department.
Yes, Palak,
And
yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, first of all, thank you for the session. It was really engaging and really enlightening. Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, like, there are some views, some businessmen and entrepreneurs who would say that, there will be instances wherein empathy or empathetic views will conflict with like efficiency of a workplace or productivity. So, ma'am, how would you comment on that? And if there are conflicts that arise because of that, how can they be resolved?
So here, Palak, empathy is purely about understanding. It is
Yes,
not.
ma'am.
It is related to. It helps you to plan better. So even as managers, we are not saying that we will empathize with the staff so much that we relax all the rules, that we remove all the performance metrics. Empathy is understanding their viewpoints, their thoughts, being sensitive. That doesn't mean relaxing any rules or any metrics, but it means reframing them in such a way, because when you empower the worker, they perform better. When they
Yes, ma'am.
perform better, the company does better. So here, empathy is not about sympathy. See, there is a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy means that you're relating with them so much that you are completely internalizing their thoughts. Empathy is about understanding and incorporating in further planning. Okay, so sympathy and empathy are two different things. So maybe you meant sympathy, and sympathy means that when we completely get flow away with the thoughts of the other person, and we think that, oh, poor them, how will they do this? Empathy is about judging in a balanced way that what are the problems that they are facing, how you can evolve the system, make it better so that they are more comfortable and their performance metrics can be improved. Okay, so design thinking in no way saying that relax the outcomes, make things easy. It is saying that empower so that the outcome is enhanced. Okay, so and entrepreneurs, when they empathize with their staff, when they empathize with their, for example, giving workers a flexibility in reporting time. Okay, for example, an entrepreneur notices that having a 9 a.m. punch in is making the employees accident prone. Okay, like for example, they start late from home, they are zipping their vehicles, and just to have a biometric punch at 9 a.m., they are endangering their lives because every day they are rushing past red lights. Okay, and just because they don't want to miss out on salaries. Many of the organizations have this kind of issue. They have a certain check-in time, which is biometric. So you can see the employees running to make the biometric because if they miss it, it leads to like a half a day off, 1 day off, salary cuts. Okay, so compare this to an empathetic organization, which is not reducing the number of hours spent at work, but it is giving you a slider scale that okay, you may punch in the biometric between say 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Okay, so accordingly, as you punch in later, you exit the organization later. So this is being empathetic with respect to a certain problem that the employees may be facing. Nowhere is the output being reduced. Okay, nowhere is the work output being affected, but a convenience is being providing in which there is a comfort to the employer to take a little time while coming. Or if they're having a family emergency at home, they have half an hour more or some 10 minutes more in the morning to adjust to it. So they feel a little more independent in adjusting their work time. I hope this small illustration like explains the difference between sympathy and empathy. So by understanding the employee dilemma, the organization is responded in an empathetic manner, but in no way is the organization losing out on work hours or work output.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So
Is there any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon,
Please go
ma'am.
ahead.
yes, good afternoon.
Ma'am, I have a question that you have said that design thinking can be used for educators and students to shift from a
Yes.
traditional teacher-led classroom. Ma'am, how can we, in what ways we can use that? I mean, design thinking can empower to shift from a traditional teacher learning classroom to a more dynamic learner-driven environment.
Yeah, so see, the design thinking has got its steps. The first begins with empathy. I just gave an example. So next, first step is empathy. That is understanding the student. Okay, in this context, because design thinking is multidisciplinary, it can be applied to. It is just providing you a structure to solve a problem. So in case you're finding that your students are not engaging with you, okay, so the first step would be to empathize. Empathy means trying to understand. You can observe, you can conduct in depth interviews. You're all researchers, faculty people over here. So we know how to research. Okay. Then you can have questionnaires. You can do focus group interviews. You can invite a few students to your chamber and try to understand what the problem is, why the engagement is not happening, or why the learning is not happening. Then, so this is the first step. That is empathize. Again, I said it is not equal to sympathy, it is equal to empathy. Empathy means understanding. Once you understand your student better, next step is define or frame the problem. What is the problem that the student is facing? Okay, so first you empathize, then you define, then your third step is ideate. So the problem definition is very, very important because as you ask the right questions, so you will reach the right solution. So depending on your observations, you frame the questions. Depending on your questions, you ideate to form the solutions. Then depending on the solutions, you assess multiple solutions and then you try to assess which you shortlist some which you think as per your assessment are going to work well, and then you go this you can call a prototype. Okay, and then you can go about testing if using those tools, you're able to engage the student better. Depending on, it is very scientific, depending on the output that you get, you can decide whether to deeply use that particular tool or not. For example, if I'm teaching entrepreneurship in my class and I expose my students to a entrepreneurship simulator, for example, an online 3D game where they are able to create their own conglomerate, create their own businesses and trade over there. Or for example, I ask them to create a dummy portfolio on the stock market. Okay, and it is a dummy portfolio and use fictional money to trade over there. Okay, so these are simulation activities. Supposing I can test these simulation activities in class and see what works better for them. For example, if you're teaching French or Spanish or any other language, or you can have a simulated conversation with ChatGPT. Okay, because it is fluent in different languages. Okay, you can create a chatbot where the students converse with the chatbot. Here, the student can converse and learn the skills any time of the day or night, irrespective whether they have a companion or not. Okay, so these are the modern age tools which you can use even in the School of Languages, as you can use in entrepreneurship and B schools to empower students to make learning more engaging and to offer them practice in the tools and techniques that you are talking about in class. For example, a chatbot for language learning to provide fluency to the student in learning a particular language. So, Nidhi, I hope that kind of deals with the question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? Define Sophia.
As we approach the close of today's event, I take this opportunity to express sincere gratitude to our honorable speaker, Dr. Jyoti Devan, for sharing wisdom grounded in experience and research, to Professor Dr. Kumkum Ray for her continued guidance and initiative in organizing this enriching academic gathering, to our respected faculty members, scholars, and students for your active participation. A special thanks to our non-teaching staff and technical team whose behind the scenes efforts made today's event seamless and successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll exit the meeting now.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. So go on, Shifa and Sophia.
Sophia ma'am, unmute yourself. Yes.
These feedback forms will be circulated.
Kindly fill the feedback form for today's event. Before we conclude, we request all the participants to kindly turn on their cameras for a virtual group photograph to capture this beautiful moment. Thank you all. We look forward to welcoming you tomorrow as we continue the dialogue on the next day, which will include an interactive session by Dr. Meeta Ghosh on effective communication skills, enhance employability. Joining the link for the same will be circulated shortly. Thank you all once again. Let us carry the learning of today's into our classroom and our communities. Stay engaged, stay inspired, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.